So students, today we will discuss about the kingdom Protista. Okay, so actually in the kingdom Protista, all the members having a single cell means single cell eukaryotes are placed in this kingdom. But there is a problem is that most of the members are photosynthetic. So photosynthetic Protistan may be also a plant according to another biologist. So this one is the limitation. Actually, here we will discuss the 4 groups or classes under the kingdom Protista, which have the chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and the protozoans. Mainly they live in the aquatic, mainly in both freshwater and marine. And this kingdom actually make a link between the plants, animals, and the fungi. As they are eukaryotic, their cell is developed having well developed nucleus, means nucleus having all the parts, and membrane bound cell organelles are also present. Some also have some locomotory organ which is known as flagella or cilia, means they helps in their locomotion. And the mode of reproduction both are sexually, and actually cell fusion, zygote formation also takes places. So these are the general features of kingdom Protista. Now we have to discuss about the salient features of the different groups of classes. So this one is the first. Actually in this group, the golden algae and the diatoms are the main members. Diatoms means they are the marine algae which may float passively in the water currents, or plankton also known as. They are also microscopic, and in the ocean they are the chief producers. It means they are photosynthetic, able to produce their own food. By unique characteristics of the diatoms are they have a cell wall which form two thin cells that are overlapped and fitted together as in and form a soap box. This is the unique features, and these walls are also embedded with silica. For this, their walls are indestructible, means they are not damaged so easily. In the habitat of the diatoms, we can find their cell wall depositions, and which is known as diatomaceous earth. So the main unique features that the cell walls form two thin cells which are overlapped and fitted together as in a form of soap box, and in their habitat they also left a large amount of their cell wall deposition. Actually these are used in polishing, filtration of oils and the syrups, so having a economical importance also. These are the general features of this group or class. So next one is the dinoflagellates or dinoflagellates. The diagram is also given, just follow it. Okay, first they are also marine and photosynthetic, means they are also autotrophic in nature. Their body color may vary with yellow, green, brown or red depending upon the pigments which are present in their cells. On the outer surface of their cell, the cell wall having a cellulose plates which are arranged in stiff condition or congestedly. Most of them having two flagella, and these flagella are the locomotory organ. One lies longitudinally and other transversely in a furrow between the wall plates. Okay, so wall plates means the cell wall plates. We have already discussed that the cell wall has a stiff cellulose plates which is known as the cell wall plates, and in between the wall plates having a two flagella also. Very often red dinoflagellates undergo such rapid multiplication that they make the sea appear red. It means that multiplication occurs rapidly, and as a result so many members are produced and the sea appears red in color, which is known as red tides. Toxins are released by such large number may even kill other marine animals such as fishes. So these are the general features of dinoflagellate. Nothing to understand, just you have to learn it or memorize it. Next is the euglenoids, and the example of euglena, diagram of euglena is also given here. They are also freshwater organisms mainly found in the stagnant water. They don't have any cell wall, but instead of this they have a pellicle which is made up of protein, and due to the presence of this pellicle, their body is so flexible, it means they can move so easily, bend so easily. They are also having of two flagella, one short and one long, means locomotion also occurs through here flagella. They are photosynthetic, in means in presence of sunlight they are able to make their food, but deprived of sunlight, but in the absence of sunlight they behave like heterotrophs, means they have to depend on others, mainly nutrition then takes places by the predating on other smaller organisms that are present in the water. And one fact is that given that the pigments that are present in these groups are similar or identical to those present in the higher plants, but though they are placed under this kingdom, not plantae. Though later, according to many biologists, photosynthetic protists are also placed under the plantae group also, plantae kingdom also. Now the next group is the slime molds. They are saprophytic protists. It means that they are heterotrophic, unable to produce their food, and they have to depend on the decaying matter for their nutrition. Under suitable condition, they form an aggregation called plasmodium, which may grow and spread over several feet. And during unfavorable conditions, the plasmodium differentiates and form fruiting bodies, which bears their spores. And the spores also having true walls. They are extremely resistant and survive for many years under adhesive conditions also. The spores are dispersed by air currents. So these are the slime molds. Diagram is also given here. And last one is the protozoa. All protozoans are heterotrophs and live as predators or parasites. We all know that many of the protozoans are parasitic in nature. It means they often live on the human bodies or other organisms' body and harm them. And they are believed to be the primitive relatives of the animals groups, having so many similarities. They are of four kinds. Number one is the amoeboid protozoans. These organisms live in freshwater sea or moist shell. They move and capture prey by pseudopodia. Actually, pseudopodia is their locomotor organ, but the pseudopodia is not a permanent structure. Actually, their body is filled with protoplasm. When they needs, this pseudopodia elongates from their body and captures it. Most forms have silica cells on their surface. Example, entamoeba, which are parasitic in nature. Entamoeba histolytica, which also causes amoebiosis. Next one is the flagellated protozoans. Example is given as trypanosoma. They are free living or parasitic. Parasitic means they often causes harm or diseases, especially sleeping sickness occurs in case of human. They also have flagella which helps in their locomotion. Now is the ciliated protozoans. Ciliated protozoans means the protozoans actually they're aquatic and able to move freely because they have a many because the body have thousands of cilia, and in their body there is a gullet or fission occurs, which is called a gullet. A special fission or cavity is present which is called gullet, and it opens to the outside of the cell surface. And how they collect food? The movement of the cilia, they have so many thousands of cilia, so their coordinated movement causes the water which is erupted food to be entered into the gullet. In this way, they completed their nutrition. Means the movement of cilia causes the water which is laden with food or mixed with food, and they're pressurized to put it into the gullet. Example is paramecium. And number 4, last one, is the sporozoans. For example, sporozoa, the most plasmodium, which is the malarial parasites, causes malaria disease. They include dive that have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle, and they are also parasitic in nature. Mainly the plasmodium, it requires two hosts to complete its life cycle. So these are the types. So just go through this and try to remember and learn this. Okay.